you so much for doing this, really educating us on the work of the commission. Salim Nathani with Benzer Capital. Very fundamental, basic question on resiliency that we talk about. You know, it's great to have all of these grants and the money going into to rebuild, but as I understand it, again in layman's term, as I understand it, a lot of times the incentives are stacked to rebuild as is. So when you're thinking about resiliency, right? In fact, when you try to rebuild so that it's better for the future, you kind of get dinged for, from what I understand, for doing that. I mean, how are we building future resiliency in whether it's home project or levies or whatever, to build that resiliency for future, and how are incentives being stacked in the commission's work?
Thank you for the question, Sim. I would say that you should be proud of the Harvey homes that are being built, both in Houston, Harris County, and non-Harris County. And the story I share is Miss Gerby in Beaumont. We just recently visited her house, and she has the only elevated house in her neighborhood. She was insulted backwards and forwards. When Tropical Storm Imelda came and dropped 42 inches in 72 hours, everybody in her neighborhood lived in her home temporarily for those 2 days. And she's now known as a hero in her community. And it was through a GLO funded program that built out of a floodway. So in Houston, Harris County, of the 49 counties, Houston, Harris County, Galveston County are the only entities that I'm aware of that now require any new construction out of a 100-year floodplain. Jefferson County, so Judge Brannick can't impose that same rule because of a FEMA restriction. We're going to work with our congressional delegation to get that changed. But it's just one small anecdote of what we can do better. But I'm proud to report to you that Houston and Harris County, y'all are leading. If you look at the data in terms of actual homes affected by Harvey, it's over 90% that were built before the last iteration of the building code modification. And so it just goes to say that, you know, small changes can make a huge difference. On the infrastructure side, coastal barrier is a perfect economic argument. You know, I know that others have said, well, this is a dam in the ocean, and there's a lack of understanding on the issue. Because if you look at Ike, that was a $32 billion storm, right? And some economists say that if it traveled a mile north, it would have resulted in the Great Depression, not the Great Recession. You had Lehman Brothers file for bankruptcy the Monday after Hurricane Ike. The state of Texas was only reimbursed $3 billion on a $32 billion storm. Harvey, $120 billion storm. Governor Abbott asked for $70 billion. We get, if you include the Corps of Engineers, maybe $30 billion. So if you take and the coastal barrier system is estimated at $15 billion, the Rice Street Center design at $2 to $5 billion, depending on who you talk to, that can mitigate a storm where you're talking about multiples of Ike, and God forbid something like Harvey again from a storm surge type event. So there are ways to be proactive, work with the state of Texas. We've had a prosperous time, a large rainy day fund, and to work with the counties up and down the coast that can help underwrite this. And then put the science behind the insurance industry that can say that we'll have a reduction of premiums, and industry can now freely hire a workforce that can live near where they work.